G'day everyone, playing some more FGR. The anniversary has just started, so you know what time it is. That's right, it's time to test our luck with our Tonelico rolls. Here on the Buster account. Tonelico being an AoE Buster caster. Boost first skill. Charges the party's MP gauge every turn for 3 turns by 10%, as well as 10 star regen for 3 turns, 50% battery, and 20% MP damage. So you know, nothing major on one skill. Second skill is a 20% charisma, but it grants an extra 10% base if they're under 100%, and then an extra 10% if they're under 75%, and then an extra 10% if they're under 50%, and then an extra if they're a quarter or less. But also if they're full HP, they gain an extra 10 crit stars per turn. So that could be up to a 60% attack up, depending on how much HP you're missing. And the third skill is really interesting because it actually begins on cooldown of 5 turns. It's an AoE 50% battery for the entire party. And also a 30% MP damage up and party guts 1 time 3 turns. Now, once it's used, it has a cooldown of 10 turns, but that's where her MP comes in. So for one, she gives herself 1 tick of invuln, 1 attack, 1 turn, so it just lasts the turn she uses her MP. AoE MP, anti-evil power mod, and it also reduces their defense by 20% in 3 turns, so the damage will ramp against the same enemies. She also gives herself a 30 to 50%, depending on overcharge, buster up before for 1 turn. And she also, based on cooldown, she reduces her third skill's cooldown by 1 to 5, depending on MP charge. Lots of interesting stuff. So yeah, let's crack on, shall we? Two tickets. That is pretty good luck. Last time I rolled, my luck trolled me. I did end up getting 5 copies of Saber Medusa, but it wasn't exactly painless getting there. It was actually thanks to the 30 quartz we got for the pre-anniversary campaign that I was able to. One last multi before that banner ended. Did you stop at 1 copy or did you go for more? Muramasa is... he's not bad. I'd say he's not spectacular. I'd say he is good. His main issue is just he only really has one turn of pop off because his skills. Here, let me double check because it's been a while since I've looked at his kit. Ramasa. Yeah, rainbow buff for one turn. The ignore invuln for one turn's nice, but depending on boss fights, also gets extra damage, extra crit damage against. So he's definitely good. Here, let me I'm trying to remember all the AoE arts, sabers. So for farming, he's better than Jason, obviously. Although Jason with his MP upgrade is serviceable, especially if you slap a grail on him, some grails on him, get him a little bit of stats. If you're not willing to do that, then mileage may vary. Summer Tomoe is not so much a looper farmer, but she's more of a kind of go the distance type thing, I suppose, or a little closer to that. I'm not trying to look for you. Okay. So, Saber Shiki is another option. Nero. Okay, so it's just Jason, Tomoe, Nero, Muramasa, Shiki for now. Okay. I would personally actually have Saber Shiki over him because of her upcoming buff where she gets 3 turns of Ignore Invuln as well as 3 turns of Arts Up. Now, it's not a 50% Arts Up, but it's a 40% for 3 turns as opposed to 50% for 1. She's actually pretty good after her buffs now. She doesn't have a 50% battery, but she's got a 30, and she's an arts unit, so it's not like you need the 50%, unlike Quick, where they keep giving the 30% instead of the 50%. And Nero, interestingly enough, 4-star Nero I'm talking about here, she gets a buff at some point within the next year where her 3rd skill gets buffed, the triple guts. The cooldown gets lowered on it, but it also gives her massive MP gain up to where even despite her MP only having 1 hit, which is terrible, it's somehow enough that she can start comfortably looping. So I'd put her over him as well, even though she's 4-star and he's 5. And then the big one, the other big one is we're getting for next New Year we're getting Takeru, which is this wiki's bloody useless. No, it's this year. Okay. Yeah, Yamato Takeru, and he has an interesting thing where whichever enemy you're targeting reticles on, he has an interesting thing where whichever enemy is your target enemy, it gets a 50% arch damage resistance down for 1 turn, activating before his MP, and his MP is AoE. So essentially, he's single target MP on one enemy, and then AoE damage on the other 2. So I'd say, well, you'd have to look at his kit. So he has a guts, he has 30% battery. Anti-divinity, anti-demonic, those are pretty common, so those are good things to have. 30% arts up to 3 turns. Oh, he has a 50% battery, it's just split in between his first and third skill. 20% P damage up. Yeah, I'd say he doesn't have the inborn pierce. He does have ramping damage too, because he inflicts 3 turns of defense down on the enemies with his MP. Tiamat's great. You can certainly do worse than pulling for her. Yeah. What else is on that Tiamat banner? Still trying to find a way I can roll for Samu Okitan, but alas, her banners are always at extremely awkward times for me. Quick account. What was I looking for again? Alright. Let's see. Saber Medusa is excellent. She's the best single target saber in the game, and that's a pretty heavily loaded category too, because there's loads of great units there. Kali she's fine. AoE archers are not, they don't really blow you away. They get the job done, but Johanna is kind of underrated. She was kind of overlooked when she came out, but she's a pretty interesting arts crit support that unfortunately got overshadowed by Proto Merlin. And Tiamat's very strong. Wait, you said GSR banner with Dome, with Muramasa, but okay, let's get back to pulling. Saber Ibuki's pretty stout too. Rice man. Froggerog. Going to have to burn a lot of these 3-star CEs because somehow I've ran completely dry on mana prisms on this account, which is baffling to me. So I must have grabbed the rest of QP or on CEs or something. Speaking of, okay. Important disclaimer, or not important public service announcement. We're finally starting to get the old Advanced Craft Essences added back into the Mana Prism shop. So if this first batch, you want to beeline as soon as you can and grab this puppy right here. This is one of the best craft essences in the game. Why, you ask? Well, it's 50% starting C, everyone loves that, but this is the big one. It increases attack. Also, it's full attack, which should go without saying that you want that. By increasing attack, this is one of the... It's pretty much the only easily accessible way to increase everything your servant does. It increases your crit damage, it increases your just regular attack damage, increases your MP damage, increases all 3 card colors, and it is one of the few ways to increase the damage of your extra attack. Really good craft essence. Highly recommend. It starts at 10%, but when ML beat, it goes to 15% attack up, and naturally at 100 it'll have 2000 attack since it's a full extra attack, since it's a full attack. See? Good stuff. See, with that, you don't have to worry about, well, this is a buster account, so I'm obviously not doing what I'm about to say, but if I was on my main account, I could show you where I have like, oh, I have a buster, 50% starting C up, and then a quick one, and then an arts one, and then like generic ones. This one, by the way, is currently the best guts craft essence in the game. Well, that's not like Heracles Bond CE, of course. 20% MP strength, full attack, good stuff, good stuff. Also, this one is technically, with the supports we have now, namely Oberon, technically this one is better than Aerial Drive because it gives slightly more. It gives it's weighted slightly more towards MP strength up as opposed to the Buster up. It's close though, because it's 10% for both. Whereas this gets you an extra 5% MP strength up by only lowering 2% on the Buster card. So this just wins. Yeah, so aiming to get that to 100 eventually too. And naturally, Black Grail, of course, is invaluable if you have Oberon, pretty much anything really. And game crashed, naturally. This is why we can't have nice things. If only they'd do something like Blue Archive did and get the game added to Steam. Oh, wouldn't that be great? That'd be quite grand, you could say. But you and I all know that they'd muck it up somehow. Okay, now where were we before we were rudely interrupted by BlueStacks having it, isn't it? So I was thinking about Blue Archive, seeing the, oh, there's something. Could it be? There it is. I lost count of how many tickets we used, but it's good to get it early, a copy of it early. Alright, take your time. You okay there, game?
Konnichiwa. あなたが私の召喚者ですね。私はトネリコ。雨の国の魔女、トネリコ。植物系の魔術は苦手ですが、敵を倒す魔術、争いに備える魔術、障害を破壊する魔術には自信があります。城の外の世界は不慣れですが、どうかよろしくお願いしますね。
Morgan Lily acquires. Notice that they're calling her Ash the Savior, or Ash the Rain Witch. Ash is in like the tree, the ash tree. That's the word. That's the word that it was. The English word for ash tree is derived from. But you clearly hear her say her name, Tonelico, just like you hear the fairy knights call themselves Yosei Kishi, which is fairy knight. But no, we have to call them Tamlan instead. Why? Drives me up the bloody wall. Just localizes, never even once. Bloody hell. I'm prepping for a playthrough of, hopefully soon playthrough on stream of Digimon World 2, and there's lots of that kind of stuff in there that drives me up the bloody wall. Like half the bloody Digimon will be saying their attacks because there's actual voice acting. It's not spectacular voice acting, but there's voice acting. For at least they'll say their move attacks, and that's the beginning and end of the voice acting of the game. But like over half the moves are just English words, like just said in English, but then like they'll change the name of it in English. Like for example, Floramon's attack in Japanese is in English allergy shower. Allergy shower. Okay. So what do they do when it comes over to the West? They change it to Rain of Pollen. Why? It was already in English. Woodmon. Woodmon's another one that drives me up the bloody wall. So his attack in there is called Branch Drain. But they change it to Twig Tap. It's just, at some point you just change things to change things. Okay, what's this? Saber. Siegfried. Is that MP4? I think that may be 4. I want to actually level his skills one of these years. Maybe use him a little bit, who knows? If I'm feeling crazy. Feeling bonkers, a little zany. One of my biggest pet peeves with the Digimon is the way, so the stages. So in Japan you have, well, besides the baby forms, you'll have child, which was localized as rookie, adult, which was localized as champion, perfect, which is localized as ultimate, and then ultimate, which was localized as mega. Why would you, for one, why change it when it's already in English? But two, why would you keep one of the names the same but then use it for a different stage? Just why? Actually brain dead. Good old Baldy. I suppose since he showed up, it's time for my wants to stream disclaimer about Baldy, because there's so much misinformation about him. At least back in the day, when I was starting out especially, where people hyped him up to be the coup killer, and he's just unbelievable. And then just look at him wrecking these boss fights and such. But been misleading new players, because it's like, well, any servant's gonna do that if you're like pumping them up with all the meta supports like you're doing in these videos. And no, he's not. He couldn't even tie Ku's laces. Wake me up when Baldy's soloing saber bosses like Ku can, some of them. I thought that was double-sided. That kind of surprised me. You can tell they're going to spark and flash gold, or flash and spark and turn gold. I think it's fine the various way. But anyway, if the card is kind of see-through on the back, like you can see the class emblem through the back as well, you can tell it's going to spark. What's this even do? Ah. Meh. Meh. Oh. You'd be surprised how often that can come in handy in certain fights. Just keep your supports alive. did in the, what is it, Under the Leaves or whatever, which is the evade equivalent. Good stuff. I think we'll switch over to multis now, since I'm one ticket short from another bonus round. Now see, this seems fairly tailor-made for her, because you get extra MP charge, so that helps her. Third skill cooldown, of course it's one time only, so. But really, oh, multis. It would be nice if one of these R2 cards flashed gold and gave me another Tonelico. That's one thing this account is struggling in, is a single target R2. I was originally going to roll for Fujino, who is the best single target buster archer by far, but things didn't quite work out, so I ended up giving it a go on them. Or rather, I'm going to I already have a copy of her on my main account, so I'm just going to roll for more copies of her. Because she gets a banner after the summer event. It's one of the evocation festivals. It's the one where it should be the one where Saber Shiki gets her buff, come to think of it. Because they're rated up together, Saber Shiki with Fujino. That's another thing, if I got Saber Shiki on this account, I couldn't use her, so that'd be a waste, because I like Shiki. But I can use whatever on the main account, because his isn't restricted by card color. So basically I'm hoping that because toward the end of the year, I want to say November, there should be a banner with Summer BB rated up with Schwartemann. And he's very good as well. He's not as good as Fujino. He's not. But he's still very good. I have him in P3 on the quick account where I can't use him, which is frustrating. Thought I could just trade him over. Would be handy. copy of that. Be nice to get some blank rails going. Oh, there's the one that's sparking. Let's see, Siegfried again. I think that'd be MP5. Oh, it's Suzuka. She may already be at MP5. She spooks me a lot. Although this isn't so much a spook per se because there's not a radar for the 4 stars. Don't sleep on Mephisto because he's once you get his skill upgrade, he can inflict buff block on enemies, and on a fair few boss fights it can absolutely cripple them if you time it right, because you can slap it on them right before you break their bond. They're like gonna hyper buff themselves, but then all their buffs miss or whiff because of it. That could be pretty funny. On boss fights where that works, it makes them an absolute joke. That was the last one. I scanned. We're getting 50 mana prisms per multi here. It's interesting. But this account definitely needs it, so I'm going to raise a brow at it. I haven't looked at if they've given us any updates early for this anniversary like they sometimes do. Although, well, sometimes it's on anniversary, sometimes they do it for New Year's. But I'm hoping they give us the update they did when it comes to the storm pods, where you can use the storm pod on any quest, as opposed to having to do the Bleached Earth quests, because those are 40 AP a piece, and when an event's going on, it's really annoying to have to do the storm pods and then go to the event and waste an apple just to start playing the event every day. So they actually fixed that by making it to where you can use it on any quest and it'll drop the same amount of dust. They also doubled the amount of dust that they drop as well, which is nice. Because it's been like over 2 years since the class score stuff dropped, and even people that even people that had been doing it religiously from the beginning and just squeezing every little bit of dust they cut out of the stuff has only been able to max just about 3 classes out of quite a few. But I'm not hoping for the dust increase because, although they did give us the coin stuff early and gave us more time to start gathering stuff for that, so who bloody knows. What could this be? Well, there's our first SSR spook of the day. Be nice if that was on the quick account. I could use the MP2 on there. 80% chance, by the way. Just as a reminder. I'm done with this multi. It's made me sad.
いいサーバントを引き当てたぜ、あんた。てなわけで、
Lies.
ライダーのサーバント、アキレウスだ。そうそう、かかとが弱点でおなじみの英雄さ。ま、俺のかかとを捉えるなんて誰にでもできることじゃねえけどな。人類最速の足、伊達じゃないぜ。
Achilles is very good, it's just he's quick, so I'm not allowed to use him on this account. Bloody shame. Could have been in B2 Tonelico. Is what it is, I suppose. Ah, necromancy. Now we're rolling. Bloody hell. Killing me, mate. Killing me. Back to back. I'm surprised Ricky hasn't gotten any buffs yet, but then they've been really stingy with buffs lately. Hopefully that's the second copy of Tonelico. Should be the third, but no, of course not. Again, good servant, just can't use on this account. Click there, but it doesn't seem I skipped anything. I'll just get a Steno now. Get all 3 of them. Imagine this happens to some people. You're not Steno. Tisk tisk. Bit of a visual bug there. The little bitch amuses me. Well, if I didn't have her MP5 before, she definitely is now. Suzuka. Okay, there's a Lancer. At least it's a Buster. Oh, that's my face copy of her on here. Interesting. She was the first 4-star servant that I got outside of starter and welfare. Because on my main account, my starter was. Oh. My starter on the main account was Tonelico. I got 2 servants on my starter role. I got Tonelico and I got Ushi. They were pretty much all I had for a while until Assassin Shiki welfare came in the event, and it was actually until that event I wasn't able to fully ascend Ushi because her mats were locked behind a latest story area that I hadn't been able to get to because I had 2 servants and I couldn't even max them because their mats were locked behind stuff. So luckily those 3 were able to get me further. Alright, well I got the jaw, and then immediately after I got my first 5-star, which was Nightingale. Another Gold Rider. Interesting. What should be Drake? Well, he is Buster, and I always forget he's in the game. I always forget he's not story locked because I thought maybe I'm mixing him up with someone else. I think he's Buster, is he?
それがしは武聖王皇彦と申すも貴君を主として報じるべく参上つかまつった文王がごとき人君なのかあるいは中王がごとき根君なのか見定めさせてもらうといたそう
That's a pretty decent CE. That one has its uses too, Origin Bullet. Honestly, that one might be better on Tonelico than the one that's actually rated up here. This one. Oh, there's something. Come on, Tonelico. Save her game. Well, he's a Buster. At least we're actually getting Buster servants. Well, mostly. Not looking good here for the home team. This is before, but it bears repeating. This is actually for a 4-star, even though it's a 4-star craft essence, it's actually really good because it's full attack, and what's its MLB? It's like 30% extra special attack, anti-humanoid, which is, these are most enemies in the game, like most servants especially. It's just an extra 30% damage. It's like a mini. It's pretty much like a mini Honey Lake, if you will. It's like an un-MLB. It's slightly better than an un-MLB copy of it. Let's just do something here. Maybe change the morale or something, I don't know. Come on. There's no reason that I should not have at least the second copy of it now. This is bonkers. There we go. 2 Busters in 1 roll. We'll take those. I haven't the foggiest what that is. You'd be fine on Maryland, I guess, if you don't have Prismacosmos. But I'd say Prismacosmos is better. Okay, there's 3. Good. Trying to blitz through them while I'm having this little spot of luck here. Hopefully it maintains, but we'll see. Okay, so that's 3, should be 4 last. Okay, there's 4. There's 5. We are done. That's good. That's very good. Okay. We turned it around with the hyper skips. Like you based hyper skips. Pretty chuffed about that. And we have a decent chunk left over to start saving up for rolling for Cleopatra. It's probably next. Around October time. There's also just a little bit of quartz in here that I still need to collect. Like 10 though. Okay, now I forget if I've ever even looked at her maps, but hopefully
盛大にリソースを使うのか。
Hopefully it's something that I can actually... Oh, I only had a MP2. Well, she's MP4 now. I have an MP5 on like 2 other accounts and MP3 on another, so it's just one of those things. Oh. Okay. Got a good second copy of Pincelea here. She's actually quite decent. She just gets overshadowed. You are indeed Buster. And you're MP4 as well. Now we got like 15 copies of her, so... Wait a minute. There we go. Would have been funny if there was like a 6 copy here and I just somehow didn't notice. The funny thing is, so is wonky luck that I've had until now. It was like past year and a half till now. That has not extended to, well, yeah, it hasn't extended to my little spare account that I don't really play. I just kind of log in and just roll for the heck of it every now and then. But, or specifically Vritra, somehow, so Vritra was the first thing I really saved up and rolled for on that account, and I got 5 copies of it. Well, and that was when she, so that would have been when she first launched in global. Well, between now and then, a good chunk of time where that account was lost to me, and I recovered it fairly recently. I've somehow gotten spooked with 3 more copies of it, so I've got her MP8. Make it make sense. Let me actually look at she's... Okay, Tonelico mats. Well, extension isn't bad. Wow, scales. Oh no, she needs a ton of those bells. I don't think anything else has used them on this account though. If this was on my main, we'd be having problems. But, I don't know. See how it goes. Should be down here somewhere. I said she would. Where are you? Remember, if you can't remember which of the foes is the one for attack, it's the one where foes bearing his horns. Let's go ahead and do this.
トネリコはレベルが上がった。
We have triple success rate for
オドの成績
critting our leveling, so it's a good time to, if you're working on any 120s, it's a good time to actually start doing that if you like.
ありがとう。
I'll be attempting to get Ushi Binger on up there on my quick account. It depends on if I can snag the final copy of it, the 5th copy of it, on the upcoming banner in a few days, where she gets rated up with her 4-star summon herself.
トネリコはレベルが上がった。
First ascension.
雨の音が響く図書室で鍛錬に励むのはここまでです。ここからは雨水にさらされながら進む戦いの道、グゼの旅を始めましょう。レベルアップですね。もっと先に。戦闘能力が上がるのはいいことです。
Just seeing she has 3 level up lines. Oh, nothing there. Stingy.
もっと先に。ああ、記憶が。そうでした。これはかつてそうだった姿。通り過ぎた思い出の灰。いつまでも見ていいものではありません。戦闘能力が上がるのはいいこと。
That's a bit of a waste, but it is what it is. And here's the controversial part.
変わりはありませんでしたか？なければ良いのです。これまでのことは話題にはしないように。それより記念日です。我が妻。一国を預かる身ではありますが、今は公務より私事を優先し、ふさわしい姿に着替えてみました。この姿の時は水妃モルガンと呼ぶように。似合いますか？
So this is the controversial part of this character, where it's so initially that it seemed like, oh, it's Tonelico, so it's Morgan Lily essentially. That's fine, but then it's like, oh wait, no, we actually merged a potential Summer Morgan in with her. So basically, you missed out on a 3rd ascension of Morgan Lily, and you missed out on 2 ascensions for Summer Morgan. So people were just a teensy went nettled over it, and then they turned around and did the bloody same thing next year with Summer Reshkigal. by mixing space Ereshkigal with summer Ereshkigal. So it's like they did it out of spite or something, I don't know. I can't say I particularly like that trend of smushing two characters together and kind of mucking over the fans of said character about it.
なのですから長い、いえ、とても短い一瞬の夢を見ていました。トトロットがいて、エクターがいて、グリムがいて、ライネックがいて、妖精たちと人間たちが共に手を取り合う、そんな王国の夢を、そして叶うことはなかったとしても、その夢は間違いではなかったと微笑む彼の夢を。ありがとう。ごめんなさい。私は最後までうまくやれていたでしょうか。
It's also something you'll notice is people trolling by having specific ascensions or cards up on her, because if you'll, well, here. Okay, so you see these ascensions for Castoria, right? All these Castorias. I was hoping one of them would have updated by now and with it or something. But basically, a couple of her Ascension portraits look identical to Castoria's, and since they're both casters, from now on you're going to have to be very careful about which one you're picking in support menus. That's why I'll probably... I am a troll at heart, but that's frankly overdone, so I'll probably completely lose her here. Come on, she's level 90, isn't she? Did I not finish?
Yeah.
No, I did not finish. Oops. Oopsie daisy.
より濃厚なバカンスのため。
Okay, let's try to save some of these. Drop it down to 9.
そう急ぐ。そう急ぐ。
It's an awkward image. There we go.
そう急ぐことはありません。
Well, I saved something. Not sure exactly what, but something.
いいよ。その代わり戻ってきたらまた新しい話を聞かせてほしいな。
Speaking of setting stuff up. Fine. Well, that's easy enough. See, this one at least. I'm trying to see. This is why I need to. Obviously, I don't have Castore on this account because this is a Buster account. But I suppose cranking's fine on her for now. Do I have anything else? If I leveled her skills, either of their skills, I could put one of them up there, but I'll worry about that later. Speaking of skills, let's see if I'm capable of even leveling hers. Well, she's at least easy to teleport from regular Otoria. Castoria is the problem. So now the question is, what do we level first? I guess this one. Hope I have enough mats. That's a conspicuously lower amount of blue gems for caster. Oh, look at all the red ones. How does that make sense? You always have a ton of blue ones. I don't understand. Oh, that was a close one. That was a close one. Okay, I am safe with bells. That's good, because you need 216. Not gonna have much left, but ouchie. And luckily, she doesn't need any. Well, she'll need the fairy scales, but only 24 per A pen, which is significantly better than bloody 72. And also those ether photon convergers from Paper Moon. She'll need 24 of those per skill. The skill is, well, silver mat. So it shouldn't be too bad. Shouldn't. There she is. As for her A-pins, that is not what I just click on. As for her A-pins, where is she? She is anti-berserker. Anti-berserker is always good to grab. The extra attack boost, she's not really a solar servant, so I wouldn't really worry about that. And she has 250% batteries, so mana loading is a bit useless, frankly. It's the most useful on. It's the most useful for when you want to slap an un-MLB'd kaleidoscope on it and still MP turn 1 without using any batteries, or you have a 30% battery. So sorry, it will be first time you use it, it's effectively a 50% battery. But when you already got a 50% battery, it's less useful. So I will probably go ahead and grab the anti-berserker at some point. I don't have enough gems right now though, so not too fussed about it. Okay, let me have a think. I'm going to grail Gramps eventually when I get his MP level out, because right now he's only at 2. I have plenty of chances upcoming to get more copies of him, luckily, so. And I'm going to finish grailing her onto 100 as well. So that's 10 grails, and then this would, so that'd be 15. Now's the time to do it though, since we have the triple success, and then Maonoru here is already 120. She was my first 120. Okay, so let's get cracking, I suppose. I need to figure out, for one, which card I want to use on her and which skin. It's really flurry. Huh. It's a very blue book. I'll probably do this with her, at least for now, till I can ascertain now. Because I forget if it's which ascension it was, or if it's the second and fourth one, or if it's just one or the other. That looks way too close to Castoria. Well, save 2 embers there. Just gotta camp for something, right? Save 3 there. How much is this in? Okay, that is. It's It's nice when it's an even number like that. Makes it easier to split the difference, obviously. Cheeky. You rascal. Oh, that's close. That works.
何をする何
I had a feeling that it wouldn't crit fast, that's why I went ahead and did that. Sometimes you just have to go with your gut.
何をするべ
Lost grade. For now. I don't know. Can't say I'm really enthused about 120 and anything else. I've never been a big fan of the 120 thing to begin with. Like, I like 100, but going to 120 just seems so arbitrary. Just weird. Oh no, we're out of embers. Whatever will we do? Snatch the smaller amounts. I still have these many after 120 Mount over. It wasn't that long ago, was it? At least so.
より濃厚
Good deal. Going through on a fourth one.
So
There she is. Who am I going to 2k for next? We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. You're the first one I saw, so you're up next, love. Should be cheaper to grail her anyway, since she's 4-star. Lizarella is really good, by the way, for those of you keeping track at home. She's really, really bloody good. Damage is good, she has great internals, she gets her MP back real quickly. She has nice survivability, low cooldowns, she cleanses her debuffs every time she MPs, which will be often. What more could you want? Good crit and star bond, no star gain and all that. Oh. 7. It's an awkward odd number. Nobody likes stars. That's still an awkward odd number. You hate to see it. Well, we saved one ember. Get out. Beauty. Yeah, she's good enough that I'd put her up against Aussie when it comes to the best single target archers, or riders, not archers. What was I even looking at that I got the word archer? Bugger all. Aussie is also really good. The thing with him is he doesn't have any hard survivability, but with his Imperial Privilege, he boosts his defense up 40%, and then with the healing he has, that can he could survive more than you would expect. Okay, this is. I'm going to split it down to 12. I said I would. Where are they? No, the drill down to 6. Oh, come on. 200. 200. I have no words for that. Ravens looking. Both those are good. So what Grayling does to a servant, to a lower star servant, is essentially, if you grail them to 100, it basically pulls their stats up to if they were the next tier up. So, for example, 1 or 2 star servants generally will match a level 73 star servant with stats, and a 3-star servant will match a level 80 4-star servant, and then a 4-star will be pulled up to a level 90 5-star, roughly, stat wise. 120 is a bigger boost overall, I'd say. So it's a little bit more difficult to ascertain. But those are very nice stats. Seriously, if all the 5-star riders to spook, why couldn't it have been another copy of Drake? That would have it still been annoying. Don't get me wrong, but at least it would have been of use for this account. Good old Grams. Oh. Yeah, hats of enemies. Bloody lottery boxes. Okay, maybe I had more than I thought. Prepare for a lot of clicking. Imagine if they had a way to like smart combine these together into like stacks of 50 or something. Like you could specify if you want stacks of 50 or 100 or even 25 or something, I don't know. And 800. What a start. There's not Gramps. There he is. Thought you get eyed from me. Tisk tisk. Actually, that's a good example. Look at Gramps' stats here. At well, level 91 now. But notice how they're basically identical to what Lizarella is now at 100. That's a good example of what I was talking about. Of course, technically her stats are better than his because of the whole assassins are only really use 90% of their attack stat as opposed to 100% like riders do. Or 110% like Lancers, Berserkers, Avengers do. And I think Rulers. Maybe several of the extra classes do. But Assassins and I think Casters are both at 90% of what they're supposed to be, attack-wise. It's a bit of a shame. That's why, if you've ever noticed your assassin kind of hitting like a noodle even against riders, well, that's why. It feels like you should be doing a bit more than this. What's wrong with you? That's why when one actually does stand out, like Gramps, or Karma, or Jack, or the like, Arsico, it's really special for an assassin. They have to really go out of the way to give them a lot of love to overcome that particular debilitation. 200 again. How does it keep happening? That'll just about do it. Here we are. So getting quite a few level 100s on this account now. Sashi, Kidu, Canis, Tonelico, Gramps, Saminobu, Jolter, Lizarella, Kukukon, and then of course Ogiton and Maonobu. Don't believe there's anyone else I'm particularly interested in grayling at this point in time. If you really like Ku, you could go. You could do a lot worse than if you got a MP5 caster Ku, which unfortunately I don't on this account. He's only MP2 right now. Bloody story luck nonsense. Oh well, maybe he'll get a raid up eventually. Hercules is still MP1 on this account, yeah. Sure is. Okay, that changed it. See, hopefully no one's going to confuse this for Castoria, but oh no, people are gonna people. Also, before I forget, before I end this, it's important a little thing to point out is one of these limited missions you can get 15 Saint Quartz, half of a multi, for unlocking a single class school. So essentially you just go in here to class school and you just have to, I've done more here, but you just have to unlock a single node. So just like for example, oh, let's increase our crit strength. Boom, there you go, 15 Saint Quartz. Easy as. Guess I'll go a little further. I can actually unlock that one. Can't do that one yet. Need more bonds. Good old bonds. See that the main account for most classes, doesn't have an issue with these locks because it can just raise any servant regardless of card type. But these 3 alts that are all card type specific, some classes are just never happening. Well, never 100%ing or whatever. I'm not overly fond of these ones since they require command spells to work. Seems a bit lame, but got to do them to get any further, so oh. Need more lancer pieces. That's another thing for the piece and monument cost is substantial. But alright, I believe that'll do it for now. So we
世界にはパートナーを運びながら慣れた頃ほど油断しやすいもの
managed to MP5 Tonelico, even if it began with, well, it didn't begin with, but it quickly had a little bit of hair pulling because he had another SSR spook. That is, oh dear, I can't even remember what number I'm at. Let's just say it's a lot. I am the world leading expert on missing 80% chances. Okay, at least they've halved AP for this. But alright. Also, don't forget to do your exchange shop for the little fast CEs. I haven't the foggiest. Do I pick? Well, Kukulkan's obvious. So there's one. Generally, at least try to stick to characters that the account actually uses. What's there? That was odd. Well, it crashed, so I think we'll end it here. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time, which will hopefully be with some Digimon World 2, but I'm still ironing out the kinks.